So one of my favorite stories is in a mother's womb were two babies, and one turns to the other and says, "Do you believe in life after delivery?" And the other replies, "Why, of course, there has to be something after delivery. Maybe we're here to prepare ourselves for what will be later." "Nonsense," said the first. "There's no life after delivery. What kind of life would that be?" "I don't know," said the second, "but there'll be more light than here. Maybe we'll walk with our legs and eat with our mouths. Maybe we'll have other senses we can't understand now." First goes, "That's ridiculous. Walking is impossible, and eating with our mouths, that's absurd. The umbilical cord is what scientifically supplies nutrition and all that we need, but it's far too short. Life after delivery is to be logically excluded." And the second says, "What if it's just different than it is here? Maybe we don't need that physical cord anymore." The first goes, "Okay, if there were life after delivery, then tell me, why has no one ever come back from there? Delivery is the end of life, and in the after delivery is nothing but darkness and silence and oblivion. It takes us nowhere." And the second says, "But certainly we'll meet Mother, and she'll take care of us." The first goes, "Mother? You actually believe in Mother? If Mother exists, where is she now?" And the second goes, "She's all around us. We are of her. It is in her that we live. Without her, this world would not and could not exist." And the first says, "I don't see her. It's only logical that she's not here." To which the second replied, "Sometimes, when you're in silence and you really listen, you can perceive her presence. You can hear her loving voice calling down from above." And it's actually that story, a version of it, is the opening to the show. And the show explores all sorts of different ideas of life and life after delivery and death and psychedelia and a lot about my relationship with my own mother. I'm really, really proud of this show. And yeah, I really hope that you'll come see it.
It's a Miracle by Max Stossel. I wish I could tell you when the showing is. I do not know. When he pops on, we will ask him. So many of you guys sent this to me, which makes me happy because I really appreciated it. I really enjoyed it. That's probably the 10th time I've watched it. And anytime I talk to anyone and I mention Max's name, they're like, "I'm not sure I know who that is." And then I mention this video and everyone knows who he is. So let's hope he shows up. He's one of the guests where I was only emailing with and not texting with, so I never know for sure. Look at Joseph Ramirez. Oh, that's easy. Already over a 10 for being early. Jose Ramirez, thank you. Thank you. I watched probably God, I watched so much Max Stossel shit in the last 48 hours. Very interesting. Living his best life. This is going to be pretty multifaceted. This is a guy who's was in the real world, blazed his own trail. It's impressive. It's really cool. I'm curious about his component of faith, about going out on his own like this, doing his own thing, finding his own way, and making a living at it, putting food on the table. I don't know if that's accidental or on purpose. And then also his, for those of you who don't know, I gotta remember that you guys didn't watch 10 hours of Max Stossel videos in the last 48 hours. But Max is a speaker who goes around and spoke to thousands and thousands of kids and parents about social media, I guess, and the effect it has on humanity. What's up, dude?
How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Max, do you ever get cotton mouth when you go on stage and like you don't expect it? Like you go up there and I never see you drinking water. The other day I did a random podcast and my mouth, and I'm like, holy shit, I feel my heartbeat. And then I felt my mouth go dry. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And I didn't have any water near me. I'm like, oh shit.
I'll get water right now. And
look at
inspiration of that.
I love your set, by the way. I love your set.
Thank you. That really, my fiance gets credit for Plant City that's happening over here.
Has that ever happened to you when you go on stage where it's like that and you're like,
More
Oh no, my tongue is sticking to the roof of my mouth.
More with poetry than with speaking. It's like if I'm about to do a show, then I can be nervous about that. I've now done
Yeah.
like just the speaking thing so many times that I basically don't get nervous anymore. But with the art, I get more nervous.
Do you know the biological mechanism of why we get our mouth dries out when we're nervous?
No, do you?
I don't, but I was kind of tripping on it too because I don't even feel nervous, but I have the symptoms of being nervous. Like when I was a kid, I would feel nervous and that would happen to me. Now that I'm older, I'm like, hey, I'm not exhibiting intellectual nervousness like in my mind. I'm like, am I panicking? And yet I feel my heartbeat going and my tongue sticking in my mouth, but I'm like, hey, I'm telling my body, hey, I'm cool. I'm
Mm.
cool, chill, relax, I'm chill.
Yeah, I would imagine it's basically the body telling you not to do it.
Stop talking. I'm gonna stick your tongue to the top of your mouth.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, I don't know what else it would be preparing us for, but
Hey, what do you think that is? Like for me, I have this strong urge to um run away, and yet I go against that instinct. And yet 99% of my life, when I have that um uh urge to run away, I would listen to it. But in those situations, you have to face it. You know what I mean? Like you're doing everything. Do you get that too? You go up there and as you start to get nervous, you're like part of you's like, hey, just go in the parking lot, get in your car and drive away.
I don't think I have it to that extreme, but there are people who talk about that, right? Where it's like our bodies are in fight or flight for things that are not literal danger for us. It's like our body registers the emotional or sociological danger as physical danger in a way that it's like, this is not a lion. This is me being nervous
Yeah.
and identifying that. I
Do you
don't know
think
that stuff so well. I've heard people talk about that.
and there really is no like real threat like as far as like cavemen. It's not like someone's gonna kill you from the audience. It's just pure
Right.
I
It's nerves.
yeah, nerves.
Yeah.
All right. Next guest, a biologist who will explain the drying of the mouth and the evolutionary mechanism. Congratulations. When I go to your site and I see, by the way, before you came on, I played the post that you have pinned, the one that so many people that sent me that put me on your radar
Mm.
about the two babies having a discussion in the mother's womb. So the audience has seen that. Just so you know, that's the foundation. They probably don't know about your work in social media and in computers and sort of that journey. So we'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about this real quick. It's a miracle, Max Stossel, March 13th to the 16th. That happened. Have you done that again since?
So yeah, we actually extended it to it was 6 shows in the 19th. I would love to do it again. It's a matter of finding the right venue and producer to make it happen. And yeah, it's filmed where we can send it to that sort of like producer to try to make it happen live again. My relationship with art is I expected that, okay, like I'm going to perform the show, I'll film it, I'll share the film version with the world. That way you don't have to live in New York to be able to see it. And in a way that is sort of out there, I kind of ask the art what it wants. And it feels like the art wants to perform this live again. And I thought it was just going to be done with live, but that does not seem to be complete. And so I'm looking for the right way to keep that going. And theater is a strange business. And so that probably involves producers and investors and the theater that will help make that happen. And so I'm actively looking for those pieces if anybody listening knows of that. But yeah, it's a piece I'm really proud of, and it's about God and death and life after delivery and psychedelia and my relationship with my mother all woven into one. And I'm really proud of it. And I would love to yeah, I expect it will happen again, and I would love to make that happen. It's just a matter of when.
It's interesting. And that also grabbed my attention too about life and death because often I'll talk about being an interviewer, like there's two ultimate questions. Where were you before you were born and where did you go after you die? And every question should be like a massage where the two people are feeling safer and safer to sort of get to that place together. No matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about asking them about, hey, when was the first time you had popcorn or all of that stuff. I always I'm that's really what I'm curious about. Like how can we come together and explore that? no matter what we're talking about, football, sex, violence, comedy, it always feels like I want to move towards like, where were we before we were born, and where do we go after we die?
I like that as a conversational vehicle because also, in my opinion anyway, that is you're getting closer and closer to what are we really?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of a conversation being uh, a form of intimacy, getting closer and closer to like, well, what are we really? And the place where you get to when we're actually talking about consciousness and what's looking through our eyes and what they're like, what are we actually? And the answers to where are we before we were born or what happens after we die, I think is much more related to what are we really? And beyond these meat suits and these um yeah, and these personalities that we have developed in this life. And I think that is in some ways like the greatest intimacy when we can really deeply see each other in that place.
And most people talk about it as where you go after you die, but in this piece, would it fair to say that that piece just caught fire, went viral, right, with the two babies?
Yeah.
That piece talks about where you were before you were born, and in my mind, usually it's the same place. The way usually when I'm drifting out there imagining the cosmos and our existence, I think of those places as the same place where we. But the way you say it is more in this. You give more temporal explanation.
Yeah,
Rooted
I
in a
think
timeline.
yeah, I mean, I think it's the reason I think it goes so viral and resonates so much is because it's about both. That poem is of there's so many parallels to life after delivery, and it seems to those two babies in the womb as though it's crazy the idea that there would be anything outside of the womb, and it seems to us here on Earth like what? Like what's the like? Show me your proof. Show me your proof. Where's the evidence? Where's the scientific evidence that there is anything beyond this life? And it's similar in terms of from the place that we are and what we see. We don't even have, a lot of people comment on that video where it's like, babies don't talk. It's like, yes, that's true. Babies in the womb don't talk very good. And for me, it's to me, that's more, yeah, we don't even have the building blocks. We don't have the words to even have that conversation to really scientifically prove what is out there and beyond. We are even more infantile than that story actually allows. And also, I think it resonates with so many people because there is a felt sense of something more. We have these inklings of something we can touch, but maybe can't express of what is beyond. And we feel the connectedness to that. And it's sort of beyond, it's both is logical and is beyond logical with just the pieces that we have here that are witnessable and measurable through a scientific method. A lot of people who are it's funny because in the comment section too, it's also like the babies arguing in the womb.
Mhm.
And a lot of the people who are like being that first baby of, nope, it doesn't make any scientific sense. They really want proof from a scientific method. Like they want a type of proof that we obviously do not get. And I think it takes an opening of our mind beyond that to touch this one.
Wow. It is just. I bet you I didn't look at the comment section, but the comment section is probably just a mirror of the poem or the piece. People
Yeah, and then
arguing. That's crazy. I never even thought of that. I need to dig into the comment section. That's ridiculous.
it also was really beautiful in that so the version I'm reciting there is by Wayne Dyer from Your Sacred Self. And I have my own version that I do at the opening of the show. Like it's so funny because in the comments there were a lot of people being like, you took this from this old rabbi, you took this from Rumi, you took this from like everybody who has attributed this story to their own different places. And when you research the history of the story, it looks like this guy Henri Rousseau was one of the first versions who was credited to it. But like a lot of people have told a version of the story in their own verse, and so many were saying like, this is affirmation of my faith as a Muslim. This is affirmation of my faith as a Christian. This is the affirmation of my faith as a Jew. And I love that it provides affirmation in all of those
Right.
different ways, in all of
Right.
those different forms, and touches something that feels sacred beyond. And to me, it doesn't matter so much where the exact origin of that story is. And it's beautiful to me that we're all kind of translating it through our own tongues and touching something that feels sacred and true.
Yeah. For sure. When people listen to it, it gives you hope.
Yeah, it's like
There's a
a trust.
Yeah. Okay, let's field some questions from the audience. Did Epstein kill himself? Thank you. So this is a cantankerous crowd.
Cool.
Yeah,
Welcome.
my morning crowd is crazy. Hey, I want to ask you something. There's do you know Eckhart Tolle?
Not personally, but yes.
You know of his work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sort of the premise behind it and what you're supposed to get from it is it's their signpost pointing out into the abyss.
Yeah.
And it's like to eternity. Would you say that's a fair characterization? To the unknown, pointing to something that doesn't have a name, the no thing.
Yeah. And it reminds me of a friend of mine who said to me, don't fall in love with the finger pointing at the moon, but like of the pointing to the great beyond that can be hard to explain.
And Rumi has this line, and I may be misstating it, but he says, "Hey, let's meet out in the field beyond right and wrong."
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was wondering, so you're in New York City. I suspect when I listen to your works that you and I hang out with completely different people and have completely different lives.
Hmm.
And uh, a lot of your work I feel is out there in that field when I listen to you speak. And then you come back and you point to something that's not out in the field. That's not
Hmm.
out beyond right and wrong. So like sometimes you'll refer to yourself as a white privileged white man, right? And um and I don't know if you've seen the meme, but there's a meme and it's this black guy talking to a white guy and it says uh get it right exactly. Have you ever been judged because of the color of your skin? And it's the black guy saying that to the white guy, and the white guy goes, "I just was."
Hmm.
You know that, and I wonder, do you know? So there's two things. Sometimes I'm like, am I bringing that to it? Did he just come back from the forever world, or did he do that? But either way, I am aware that I'm the observer and that I'm making sense of it. But are you aware you're doing that, and do you do that on purpose? Does this resonate with you?
Uh,
What I'm saying?
I love that Rumi poem. The
Uh-huh.
out. I think it's out beyond the world, the ideals of wrongdoing and right doing. There's a field. I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
When we lay down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Words like each other cease to exist. And yeah, in that field, and like, or in that place beyond death or before birth. Yeah, I believe that. I believe there's no like the idea of race is so silly. Like any of that, like it just is gone. And I think holding both, holding that we do live in a world that has tangible, noticeable things, and like our souls are eternal that way. I think holding both is some of that game, and with art to be able to touch and express both. And yeah, like to me, we're so far. Like I would love to live in the world where it's just like just throw it all away. Like, like it's totally irrelevant that I am white, that I am a man, that I am privileged. No, it's like that's not what it's about. Just meet me on the level of the soul. And yes, like that is how I interact with people, with individuals, how I want to interact with people. But I feel that just like grounding in that and like I feel like it feels like trying to skip a step. It feels like trying to skip a level of a lot of real challenge and messed up stuff that goes on in our world and ways that we like haven't found equilibrium or justice. And it's the race one is tough too because also as white guy it's really like it's so hard to see from outside of our perspective on this earth. Like we cannot know what it is like to walk the streets as someone as a different race, as a different gender on this earth. We just can't know it. Like we just don't get to know that in this lifetime. And to really set aside like to really try to set aside what it feels like to be me and try to open up to what it feels like to be another person is really hard work. And I think that work is necessary to for there to be less violence and more love in the world.
Um, I would I would I would pose that I think we need to go the opposite way, that it's trying to do that work that's distinguishing the difference. But I wanna come back to that
Tell
because I
me.
wanna I wanna come back to that, but because when I listen to your work, you take me out there to that place of like of freedom, right? So I'm listening to your work and I'm listening to your work and I have that, and then you bring me back to a place where instead of me being free, now I'm judging you as the artist. So recently I was looking at some work on Reddit and some people were talking about how much they hate me, but they like one of my peers, right? And I love this peer, I love of mine. And I realized the reason why they don't like me is not because of my work, but because I interject like things like my thoughts on open or closed borders or on whether kids should take vaccines. But they want to keep me in the sports space. They want to keep me like in this space where I just talk about CrossFit, right? And exercise and interview the people and get to know people better. But when I interject who I am, they bring my character gets inserted and then they start not to like it, right? So I was watching, as I'm watching your work, I'm loving your body of work as what it does for me. But then when Max says when Max comes and says those things, then I start forming an opinion about him. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's kind of interesting because we'll be out in the field together, and then all of a sudden we'll be on Earth together. And I was just like, I didn't realize that in the last 2 days when I've been watching all your work and then watching this feedback that I've been seeing coming in, I realized, oh, that's what it is. That's what's going on. Like anytime you make anything real, I start to judge you, whether it's good or bad, you know? And I thought, oh, that is what's going on is whereas people, if we expose ourselves, they start to judge us.
Hmm. Have you heard the expression that like judging is telling on ourselves?
I haven't heard it like that, but I know the idea for sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that just
Is
like
that the
any
same as one finger pointed at you, three back at me?
maybe it's
Yeah.
definitely a similar idea. But just like it's like you have every right to judge me. You have
Yeah,
every right
yeah,
to have
yeah.
those opinions. Um, but yeah, I think it really my experience has been often the case that when I am judging someone, it says more about me than it says about them. And
Right.
it's like a sign of something not worked out in our own system. And um, but yeah, it's like we have every right to do that. We're judgy humans.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it happens all the time. But yeah, but I mean, I would love to hear. You said you think we need to go the other way. I would love to hear what you mean.
So like this statement I said, so when someone says this meme that shows a black person saying to a white person, "Have you ever been judged because of the color of your skin?" The irony there is that black person is judging the white person for the color of their skin. And
Hmm.
so even like if we use the example that so many people have said, I'm a privileged white person or I'm a privileged man in uh i- i- in the it's all it's doing is rooting yourself further in the um finite. I'm gonna steal your words, and I love this line that you use. In the finite instead of the you gonna help me?
Instead of the infinite.
Instead of the infinite. So
Hmm.
there's a parallel there, right? All of a sudden, like by doing that, I'm insisting that you be black and I'm insisting that I be white instead
Hmm.
of like, hey, I'm not even in this feigned, I know this is biased, even in this feigned compassion and in this feigned empathy and this feigned understanding, really what I'm doing is I'm separating you from me. And where
Hmm.
I grew up in the Bay Area, as we went through, 2016 to 2024, my experience in the Bay Area in California was nothing like what was being said on TV. Where I grew up in the Bay Area, the black people were the privileged ones and the white people were not the privileged ones. So like they could cross the street when the lights red. We could not.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I grew up in Berkeley, California. So we've always been tiptoeing around. Do you know
Gotcha.
what I mean?
You mean where this sort of ideology was just like strong, and there was so much. You're saying there was so much attention paid to it that it felt like that was the case.
Yeah, to the point of absurdity, to where it was like, yeah, it just it became, uh, like I understand addressing white people's need for suntan lotion, maybe, or to look at their biological needs for protection from the sun. You know,
Hmm.
so but the attempt to help the situation only makes it worse.
And I wonder,
do you see what I'm
yes,
trying to
I
touch
think
on there?
so.
Okay,
What
yeah,
I'm
okay.
hearing from you is that by basically like talking about, whether it's talking about race or like really cementing in somebody's identity as I assume this extends beyond race, of like as a woman, as a this person, as whatever it might be.
Yeah, now
We're
you can be
cementing
anything.
we're cementing into that, and like we're interacting with each other as that, and we're not able to meet each other on a deeper level, and like stepping away from that is what opens up more possibility and more really meeting people where we are. Is that an accurate
Yeah.
characterization?
I mean, that's definitely one of the byproducts or components of it. Yeah, that's the byproduct of doing this.
Right. And then I think that there's a way that that's true, and also I think what that misses is um is why I think a lot of this conversation comes up, which is I think an expressed pain or injustice, that I think someone is knocking on our door and being like, "Hey, you're not seeing something because it doesn't show up in your regular reality. Like you're not understanding the way that the world is right now." And it's infuriating because not only are you not understanding it, you're also making me feel like I'm crazy as I experience it all the freaking time.
Mm.
And it's like I'm reminded of a meme where it's like uh what is it? Where it's like two falcons are reading a newspaper and it's like, yeah, you hear what they're saying about the eagle, like that they, he's like really mean and picks on the mouse all the time. The falcons are like, never to me. It's like always super kind to me. And it's like
That's good. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
and yeah, like I think
Yeah.
there are things that we don't experience because of we not it's so hard to understand because of our lived experience. And I'm not saying that we should constantly be looking at the world through that lens. I think that can be a trap and that can put us in separation. But I think the idea of dismissing it, or dismissing the idea that there is an amount of privilege from having the skin that we have or having the gender that we have, I think dismissing it is a mistake. I also agree with you that like only looking at the world through that lens is a trap. But I don't think the answer is pushing it aside either.
Okay. Fair enough. I love that. Um, can you tell me how old you are?
36.
You have not you're not aging? You turned that off. I
I
was like, he's been 23 forever.
I looked like I was 7 until I was like 16.
Wow. Yeah, well, congratulations. You must be taking good care of yourself.
I don't know if that's the case, but thank you.
And, and can you tell where were you born, Max?
Upper West Side of New York.
Okay, so your whole life in what is that like for those of us who don't know? What's the you if you walked out your front door as a kid, what did that look like?
Um, I would walk out. I would be not too far from Central Park, but honestly, I spent a lot of time indoors playing video games. Was more my speed. And yeah, it's like one sort of funny story is when I got to college, I had friends who would like pass me and be like, "Hey, like you totally ignored me when we were walking past each other." And I was like, "Oh, like my default was like I'm on the street, I'm just like sort of weaving through all the people here, not paying any attention, laser focused to what's around me." There's just so many people and so much stimulus all the time. I think I sort of naturally tuned things out. And yeah, you get exposed to a lot of ideas, a lot of commotion. Some people have this like breath that they describe when they get into nature. I kind of don't have that so much. I have it more when I get on the subway. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm back. I'm home in the chaos of the people. Um, and but yeah, it's a very alive, happening city. One thing I love about New York is like the collisions. You have collisions of different cultures. You're on the subway, you hear three different languages being spoken just like right next to you. And like people from all different walks of life sort of have to bump into each other and have experiences that we wouldn't normally have. And it gives the feeling, the city, a sense of real aliveness.
And what college was that?
Haverford, Pennsylvania, little school. I wanted to go to the best academic place I could play soccer. They were good at academics, bad at
Oh,
soccer, which was a good fit for me. And yeah, I got to play there for 4 years.
you played collegiate soccer for 4 years?
Yeah,
Dude, crazy. You still have
yeah, it
good
was fun.
you still have good footwork?
I play in like a fun league now every Thursday night, but I have noticed this year especially that I am now old and no longer good at soccer.
Did you say you were 37 or 38?
36, but
Oh,
it's
36. Okay.
the body, like my brain to foot just doesn't do what it used to do, which is sad.
At 37, I realized, oh, I need to be before I can even exercise now, I have to be like sweating. So I have to do an exercise before I exercise.
You have to warm
Eh,
up to it,
yeah,
yeah.
right around 37, I realized that.
I'm still learning that process of how to live in this a little bit older body.
I went to UC Santa Barbara. That's in California, about 100 miles north of LA. And when
Yep.
I went down, and I was originally from the Bay Area, and when I went down there, all the people from Southern California, I heard it regularly, was like, "Dude, you're so nice to everyone. You say hi to people when you walk by them." And I'm like, "Well, like, you just walked by them and, like, you made eye contact." And then in my late 20s and 30s, I spent a lot of time in New York City, in Brooklyn, and in Manhattan. And, a couple weeks here, I'd fly out there and do some work, a month here. And I would trip because you could stare at people there because no one was watching you.
Mm.
Or like in the Bay Area, like, well, where I grew up in the Bay Area, you can't do that. You can't just sit there and just stare at people. Someone will make eye contact with you and then you'll engage with them, right? Like you can't just but like in New York, I realized I'm like, holy shit, I can just sit somewhere and stare my ass off and no one knows what, like.
Just watching the people go by, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
And you'll see some interesting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you do that and you go away to college. Do you make it when you find that out about yourself? Do you make an effort to try to change that at all?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I care very much about what the people I care about like think and feel. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm doing something that is causing you discomfort or pain or an idea about me that doesn't feel true. Yeah, I want to change that." And so I would then made an effort to notice more and say hi to people and then yeah, it's interesting that then one of the first poems that I published, like that I posted a video of online, Subway Love, in some ways is about like the opportunity for seeing missed opportunity or love, just like in the places we miss it all the time, especially in New York. And but yeah, I think that paying attention is can totally change your life. And certainly I'm much happier to be noticing more than to be totally blind in my own world as I'm walking.
And they misunderstood you too. It had nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
It had to do with you. So you were miscategorized.
Yeah. I mean, that's true also. And I mean, that sort of is a nice parallel to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like it's both. It's like they were having an experience of it felt to them like I was not acknowledging them, and I wasn't acknowledging them. They made that mean something that it didn't mean in our own particular interactions, and my life is better for noticing more and acknowledging more, and so it feels like it was both.
And then I wanna make sure I point this out. Just because someone's not paying attention on the outside doesn't mean that they're not paying attention. They could be paying attention
Well, they're paying attention to something on the inside or
on
something
the
else going
inside,
on in their
yeah,
brain. Yeah.
yeah. And were you always were you always good at that? Did you pay attention a lot to what was going on the inside?
I will like ruminate in circles and think a lot, and I'm a pretty anxious person, and like will think about things and think about things and think about things. And I've always been a good analyzer, good at chess, good at games and things of that nature. And so yeah, I was always brain was always working fast, I would say.
And specifically, you were conscious of your thoughts. You would actually see them. You know how sometimes, like, you wake up in the morning, your brain's going, you're like, "Hey, where you at? What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, so I mean, are you sort of speaking to like the being the observer from and like watching the thoughts happen? I think I learned how to do that later in life. I would more for most of my up until my probably mid-20s was more just like go, 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 go on the wheel.
Because, I think a lot of people think that, being present is not being in your thoughts, but you can be completely trapped in your head and be present and be aware of it, just like you could be completely present and lose yourself at staring at a bird. And I think that sometimes people think that it's just one way, it's only out, but it can be
Mm,
in also.
mm.
Your consciousness can be focused just on your thoughts, and you can be present with just all the noise and chaos in your brain.
Yeah. What is the what is the state? What is that state of presence? I think if you're really watching, there's a difference between watching your thoughts and basically riding your thoughts coattails. And I agree that, yeah, if you're watching your thoughts, that's a form of presence too. And yeah, that can I mean, that can be an incredibly valuable way of analyzing yourself and your life. I like words often fall short here. Um, but I think it's a small way to live. Like, I think being trapped in the mind is a small way to live, and opening ourselves up to more than that feels more expansive and more fun and more full, and gives me that trust fall from the poem much more so. Like, I find that I find the mind is small. A friend of mine says to me, her name is Alice Frank, who's been a great teacher of mine, who says the mind is a brilliant servant and a terrible master. Um, and I think that really does that feels right to me, where it's like, if this because that because this because that, so I better live like this and I better do it like that, is not a fun way to live, as opposed to like, I trust myself, I trust that I'm here, I trust my heart, and I'm gonna let my mind do the heart's bidding, and I'm gonna operate that way. That feels like a much more beautiful way to live to me.
I'm going to make a presupposition here, and feel free to walk it back if it's not appropriate. Do you remember the first time that you got out of your mind, that you saw? Do you remember the first time you saw the world?
I think most extremely like this was the first time that I had ever tried psychedelics. Mushrooms was a jolt out of 23 years at that point of what I had been worrying about, and so concerned with how people perceived me, and so concerned with like, what this means, that which this is a connection to that, and then just being like, it's like a breath of, oh, like, I'm just here. Like, look at all this stuff. Look at this place. It's amazing. Wow. Like, you have a nose. I have a nose. That's so cool. Both have noses. Fun. I could walk up. We could just talk about having noses. Like,
Wait,
there's
what are you
not the
saying about my
stress.
nose? Why did you focus in on my nose? Why are you doing
That
that?
we have one. We both have
You're
one.
making me feel something.
Okay. You want to talk about
No.
it? And yeah, it was just like a relaxing into. Um, I was so stressed about so much and making things mean so many things that they didn't mean. And it was just a, wow, I can actually be in this magnificent world that is so beautiful when I'm not spinning my head in circles about it. And yeah, mushrooms honestly were the first time that I felt that.
As a child, you never experienced it playing soccer
Not
moments?
like that.
No.
Not like that. Like, that is a different level of things. I would feel like in flow playing soccer, and could
Mm.
like, I think in games would like be able to just really be in the moment in that way and be present in that way, and could like find deep moments of presence. But psychedelics for me, and also for anyone who's I guess listening, of, you want to make sure you're in a really safe setting with psychedelics, like, that make sure you're getting stuff that is really like actually what you think it is, and be careful about dosage. You want set and setting. It's very important to like things feel comfortable, and you're with people or in an environment where you're actually safe and comfortable. There can be dangers to these things, but nothing was like that you really step out of your own experience to witness something else. There were plenty of flow moments, and moments where I was just like in it and having a good time and present with what I was doing, but not like aware of the matrix the way that mushrooms allowed.
And so that was getting out of your thoughts, because you take these mushrooms and then it changes your perception of the world, so you become hyper focused on this world. You're like, holy shit. I'm like, something in here. I'm really seeing the world, whether it's how it really is seen or how it's just made up because the mushrooms are doing something. Whatever the mechanism is, it brings you out, and you're like, fuck, I'm out of my head. I'm like looking at the world.
Yeah, and like, this is some of what my show is about, which is a lot of drugs when you take them, it doesn't feel like you're witnessing something more real than what we call reality. It just feels like, oh, I'm high. I'm seeing like this cool other filter on top of things. But that's where certain psychedelics are like more mushrooms for me in that instance, not always, but in that instance, were different, where it's not a new filter on top of reality. It's the removal of a layer, to witness something underneath that's there and has been there, whether I noticed it or not. And so that's what mushrooms did for me. It removed a veil and allowed me to see something more deeply and get out of my spinning mind to witness something. And yeah, it was a very valuable experience for me.
You think there's people who live their entire life and never get out of their thoughts, never get out of like
Yes.
running it through the filters?
I think a lot of people, and mushrooms are not the only way to get there. Like, I think meditation is one way that some people get there. Sometimes life just happens it upon us. But I think a lot of people, yeah, don't know that that exists or don't know how to step outside of that. And I certainly didn't.
Uh, um, one of the ways I used to think about it a lot, I hadn't thought of like this like in 15 years, but when I imagine an old school movie projector, right? And there's no film in it. And it's just projecting light out of it. And it's just this white light on the wall. And that's kind of like who we are. And then you put ideas in front of it and people feel those ideas. You're projecting them onto them. You know what I mean? You're beautiful. You're ugly. But it's a two-way street when you have that filter on. And this is what you were talking about. Earlier, when you put that filter on, not only are you projecting onto other people, but when you see the world, it's also coming to you.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Through your filter, through hey, the eagle's mean or the eagle's nice.
Mm.
But
And yeah,
I think people feel your projection,
mhm.
right?
Yeah, of what you're
And
looking
some of
through.
us or people who are pleasers, they'll actually try to fulfill your projection. So if you project onto them anger, they'll beat your ass. If you show onto them love, they'll just love you back.
Mm. And what I'm hearing and what you're saying too is the importance of being able to put that filter down. And I think that is like, yeah, to recognize it's the light, right? The light is the light. And then we put everything else on top of it for what it means and to be able to see the light for the light. I'm reminded of Plato's cave too, which I would butcher if I try
Yeah.
to retell, but it feels in that vein as well.
Max Stossel is a rapper. Does that work? Do you
Do
rap
I?
sometimes? Like, cause I hear you
With
always say
my
you're a poet, but like I'm like to me, cause like I didn't grow up with poetry. I grew up with NWA and Run DMC and Cool Mo D and Rodney O and Joe Cooley. Like to me, I'm like, what? He's a rapper.
I love freestyling with my friends. I will use that sometimes as a form of like a catching up of where it's like, I'll just put on like a beat on Pandora and then just like freestyle about our lives as ways of giving each other updates. And I
Yeah.
have a lot of fun doing that. But
You'll make them a personal recording. You'll rap and then send it to your friend like as a video
yeah,
file. Oh
I have a
my
couple
God.
of
It must be
friends that
so
that's
funny.
most of how we communicate back and forth.
Wow.
As an audio file, not video file, but of like it's caring how you look is an extra thing, but just putting on the voice note that way. And yeah, one of the places I feel most in flow and not in the psychedelic way, but just in it, is in musical play, where like I have friends who will like play instruments or make beats, and then it's just like singing or freestyling just about whatever. On top of that is one of my favorite ways to just like spend social time. And so I have a blast doing that. And yeah, like the skills transfer, but I mean, like also some of the when I'm around like actual rappers, it's a different thing that they're doing. Like just the level of thinking ahead and like they're thinking 4 bars ahead and how this is going to relate to that. I'm mostly just like trying to keep it in rhythm and in rhyme. And I definitely enjoy that. Uh but so yeah, it's a hat that I would love to wear, but like Max Stossel is a rapper is not a sentence that I have spoken or or something that I really feel is true about myself.
When you change your cadences when in your performances is when I like start to like feel it. You know what I mean? There'll be like a
Yeah, where you
shift.
drop into
Yeah. And then
the rhyme and
sometimes,
rhythm.
yeah. And I'll be like, oh shit, Max Stossel, the rapper. This is why I liked it.
Cool. I mean, if that's the filter that works for you, and you're totally welcome to it, and I'm happy to step into that in that context. Poetry doesn't quite feel right either. Sometimes it's yes, I don't know what to call it exactly. So I'm happy with whatever labels feel good for the listener.
You're how old are you when you leave college?
21, 22, 22, I think.
Okay. And then at 23, you have that experience, the eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
And where were you when that happened?
I was actually at Burning Man. I was in
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot going on,
Wow, you
which could
came
have
west.
been a really overwhelming time to be doing that. It happened to
Yeah,
be a good experience for me. It's not
yeah.
necessarily the way that I did it would not be necessarily how I would recommend someone do it for the first time.
And had you started writing any poetry at that point?
No, I had not at that point. I didn't start writing any I mean, I was when I like, my first grade yearbook, my teacher is like, "Max, the class poet," but I did not have memory of writing poetry in any years between then and when I was like 24, 25. I heard a poet named InQ perform, and the hairs on my arms stood up but like wouldn't go down. And then on the way home, I just started like trying to journal and figure out what was happening. And the first two lines of what I wrote rhymed, and I was like, "Ah, all right, I can do this." And I finished that poem and then shared that with him. He was like, "You should consider pursuing this." And then for a while, would just like write on the train or whenever I had time. And it slowly became more and more of a thing. And I would perform the poems live, which is how it feels most right for me. And then people would say, "Can you send me that?" And I would write it out. I'd be like, "It's not just the words. Like it's not doesn't feel right." And so I worked with people to turn them into films that could like live online and spread in a way that would happen online. And that was how a lot of the sort of poetry career really began for me.
And do you remember the date when you wrote that first poem, roughly?
I think it was like March of 20. I was gonna say 15. I think March of like 2015.
What? That's
Is that
10,
math?
10 years ago. So you were about 28, 26. You were 26.
Or maybe 20. I guess then maybe 2013. I think I was around 24.
And you've lived a couple lifetimes already, which is fantastic. Congratulations to you for doing that, because you clearly like reinvented yourself, but not given up on your old self. You've blended it into your new work. Were you doing the job in tech at this time at 25?
So yeah, when I wrote that poem, I was. Yeah, I was working for a small social like, I was out of college looking for jobs. They were like, "You're young, go figure out social media." I was like, "Okay, I guess that's my job now." And I did that for like marketing agencies, and then I met all these entrepreneurs, and I met this one person who was starting a social media company. I was like, "Okay, like I can be a part of that." And
What's a social media company like Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat? Like someone who's starting their own app, their own.
exactly. It was
Okay.
called Ocho. Our plan was to be the Instagram for video before Instagram had video.
Okay.
This was like the days of Vine, and we were trying to do that. And we had tens of thousands of users, not millions, but we were playing the same game as everybody else was playing of like, how do we grab and hold as much attention as possible? And in doing that, I also met Tristan Harris, who founded the Center for Humane Technology. He's featured a lot on The Social Dilemma. He was talking really eloquently about how like about how these decisions were, not ones that we look back on with satisfaction, but just what sort of like a monkey we do if you put a certain set of stimuli in front of us. And I just thought he talked about this stuff beautifully. Wanted to help him however I could. Helped him start that organization. We were getting all these emails from parents and teachers saying, "What the heck do we do about this whole smartphone and social media thing?" I thought I can, maybe I'll be helpful in that regard. I'll just take these emails, started speaking at schools, and now for the past 10 years, I have, on the other side of my world, been giving talks to middle schoolers, high schoolers, and their parents and teachers about how social media is impacting our lives and relationships. And I have an organization called Social Awakening that does that work.
Um, uh, Let me jump back really quick. When you finished college, did you move back home?
Yes.
So
Lived with my parents, saved money.
yeah, and then so you've been and you're still in New York. So you're a New York kid, went to school in Pennsylvania, and then came back to New York, and that's home for you.
Yeah. I lived in California a little bit. I studied abroad in Italy, but otherwise it's always really been New York.
And where did you live in California?
LA. Was out there mostly for a relationship for 2 years.
Oh, no shit. Okay. And okay, so you do that. Do you remember getting your first smartphone, your first iPhone?
First iPhone, I think I got in college. First phone, I had like a Nokia brick phone when I was like 16.
Okay. And when that first smartphone you got, was that The iPhone 1? Was that the original iPhone?
Don't remember the model, but it was like
Okay.
it was an old school iPhone that I think like just started to have like I don't remember if it had I think it had Facebook on it.
Oh, okay. So Facebook was already out at that time.
Yeah. 'Cause Facebook came out in like 2006, I think. And then yeah, I don't know. Math is hard.
I have 3 little boys. I have a 2 8-year-olds and a 10-year-old, and, I know it's easy for me to say, uh, in the position I'm in, but I can't imagine, giving my kid a phone. The thought of someone giving my kid like, my kids aren't even allowed to hold my phone. The thought of, uh, someone giving their kid a phone sounds crazy to me. It's like it would be like taking a shit on your favorite carpet in your house.
I'm glad to hear that, frankly. I don't think that they need them. And yeah, I guess at those ages too, you'll probably start getting the pressure more around 12, 13, 14. And parents who wait are very glad that they waited. And so I highly recommend, like, giving as much childhood as you can in those years and really delaying the introduction of that first smartphone. And definitely don't make the mistake of the moment you need to communicate with them from afar, giving them a smartphone. You don't need that. There are plenty of devices you can use that will allow you to text or call or see their location if that's what you need to do. And that does not need to be the supercomputer, self-comparison machine, infinite access to everything machine, and porn machine. Like, we don't need to give those just so that we can text or call our kids.
That is what it is, the infinite access porn machine.
Yeah. And calling it that, I think would help parents make better decisions about when to give it to their kids.
Yeah, every kid that I meet that I'm like, "Fuck, that kid's cool," I'll be like, when I say kid, I mean like 17 or 18-year-old. I'll be like, "Hey, when did you get your first phone?" They're like 15, 16. No cool kid ever says there are no cool like if you wanna make your kid not cool, just give him a phone. You just fucked your kid up.
I relate to that.
It's
Certainly with the social skills,
crazy.
they don't have social skills. As like the ones who come up to me after are looking me in the eye, where it's like, yeah, like I don't have this, I'm not that into it. They're able to meet people on a human level, and I think it really hinders those social skills when we give kids phones. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not I prob and my kids don't go to school, so they probably won't ever get a phone. Like, they'll probably be, like, the same year that, like, they discover fusion technology is when they'll get their first phone. You know what I mean? Like, when they begin they're gonna have to be filthy rich to get a phone.
what's their social life like?
24. That's when you got your phone, huh, Avery? That's bad at wow. Or you're saying that's when I should do it. Y It's just like a completely normal social life. Like, so they fight like 4 or 5 hours a day, in a fight
With each
setting.
other? Oh, in a
That
fight
too.
setting?
No, they do that another 3 hours. They're basically, most of their day is, playing tennis or doing jujitsu or doing some sort of fighting. So they're in these programs where there's kids from kindergarten to, 20 years old. So they're in the more of the traditional, they didn't I'm projecting on you, but they weren't raised like us. Like, I was kept with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds, and then I moved all the way up. My kids are like with a full range of kids from 5 to 20 all day, and they take one-on-one instruction, and they have intimate, relationships with people. Obviously, from fighting, fighting's very extremely intimate. And then tennis is extremely intense, super steep learning curve. Um, and that's like the foundational things that they build their identity on. Of course, my mom's here every day teaching them Armenian and piano
Oh, cool.
and those types of things. But most of their interaction, their peer group is through sports mostly.
Because yeah, it's great to have those environments that are not phone dominated, where they're hanging out. One big thing that I try to do in the schools I'm at is make them phone away for the day policies, like bell to bell, no phones in schools, just giving kids more of an opportunity where they can have social collective time, that phones are not out there and dominant. Because for a lot of them, yeah, school was the place where a lot of people just like socialize naturally, and that's getting overtaken in a lot of ways by these devices. And so I think we'll look back in 5 years as it being crazy that we allowed smartphones in schools. And I hope that starts shifting.
And it's crazy. It's not only giving your kid access, it's giving the world access to your kid. Why do you want the world to have access to your kid?
Yeah, on both sides of it. John Haidt has a great book, The Anxious Generation, that is about this. about this stuff. He's been an incredible force for this movement. And one thing he says that I think is really right is that we are overprotecting kids in the physical world and underprotecting them in the digital world. It's like we're
Yeah.
so scared about letting our kids go to the store by themselves, but we're letting the whole world into their bedroom through the phone.
I want my kids to be able to make eye contact, um, connect with people, play music, and fight. So they will be. I think that's like a good foundation for being like a good mate. You know what I mean? Like a good husband, a good lover, a good companion.
Sure.
And I think that the phone probably does the opposite. Like it turns you into maybe like a shit companion, makes you like fat, sloppy, and not want to connect.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think the things you outlined are definitely better for development than than the phone is.
Hey, Max, let me ask your opinion on this. There are things that are really hard to quit. Cigarettes are really hard to quit. Heroin, some people, alcohol is really hard to quit. Coffee can be hard for people to quit, like these daily things. For the phone, for me, it doesn't seem like there's that addictive quality in the sense that you ever left your house and you forgot your phone, and then like in 30 minutes you just don't even it's just gone. Like for me, then it's just gone. I'm just like, it's not like, holy shit, I need a cigarette. It's like, fuck, it's gone. And then maybe like 2 hours later, you'll be like, I need to call. I guess I'm not. And then you move on.
Yeah, I have a similar where like this the initial like, oh, where is it?
Yeah.
And then if it's not there after a while, it's like, oh, I don't miss it, is how
Yeah.
I am also. And I think the best analogy for the addiction element is gambling. It's like gambling addiction. It's like sort of like an environment that I think is can be very addictive and very compulsive when you're inside of it. And we also do have the cravings to go in, but I'm with you that it does seem like there is a pretty quick once you're over the initial hump of it that we don't miss it so much anymore. And then a lot of kids talk about when they go off to like summer camp, kids who go off to summer camp, they are in an environment for months where people are not on phones and they come back like that was great. Like I want to keep doing
Yeah.
that, but then they go back into their regular lives and they're totally addicted again. And so I think there is a lot about the environment that keeps us clean or healthy or not, just depending on where we are and how we're living our lives, which is true of most addiction, where it's like the opposite of addiction. I heard someone say once it's like connection is feeling connection and satisfied and fulfilled. And like when we are doing that, we don't feel the urge to go to these other elements as much.
Yeah. I can be like, man, I'd really like to have sex right now. Or, oh, I'd really love to have a cigarette right now. I've never in my life been like, ooh, could really use some scrolling time right now. Never. Do you know what I mean? Like it never like pops up as a craving. Oh, I could
Right.
really use some sugar right now. God, can I get a cookie or apricot or I need some like carbs right now. I've never been like, I
Yeah,
just
we
need
don't
some
have the
social
thought, I want to scroll,
I want
but
some
we're
social
doing it a
media
lot.
time. Oh, yeah, I know, that's what's crazy. It's a trip, and yet, it's so literally, if you just put your phone down, it goes away.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true for everyone, but I'm glad to hear it for you. And I,
Oh,
I
so
think
tell me,
it's,
that's
yeah.
my question. Is it not true for everyone? You think that there's some people, they put their phone down for 2 hours, and that whole time is just like they're fucking got the cold sweats?
I think well, so 2 hours, I think I'm with you that for most people that would be the case, but, like, it's certainly not as immediate as some people just put it down and it's gone, but I think, yeah, that time element is important. It would be interesting studies of, like I would love for that experiment to be done, of how long does it take after people put the device down before they're, like, really just, like, more relaxed or not missing it at all, and that would probably be a study that parents would be very, very happy to hear about, frankly, because some
Yeah.
of them are like, oh man, the tantrum that's gonna come if I take this thing away, and they're very afraid of that
That's
moment.
that's the
Yeah, go
entire
ahead.
thing about parenting. It's a hostage situation at all times. You know what I mean? Like they say, "Hey, can I stay up a little bit?" And you're like, you're being held hostage by your own thoughts. Like, "Oh shit, am I willing to deal with the temper tantrum?" That's why there's so many shitty parents. They don't want to, or that maybe that's why there's so many shitty kids. Parents don't want to confront that.
Yeah, or let their kids be angry with them, which
Right.
is, I think I was on a podcast the other day of, like, about parenting, and one thing she reflected back, she was like, "What you did there that I think was so important is you said, like, hey, you're maybe gonna be super angry at me about this, but this is important, so I'm standing by it, and just like allowing, and like, I'm so here for your anger. You want to rage? You want to like hit some? You want to hit some stuff? You want to like scream in my face? Like, we can totally be here with that anger. Your anger is not wrong or bad, but no, I'm not budging on this. And like actually meeting the emotion, but standing our ground on what's important.
In your life, so you're 23, you have that experience, then at 20,
5, I think.
about
I don't know.
25, you start writing poetry.
Yeah.
Are you still at home at that point?
No, by that point I was living on my own in Brooklyn.
Okay. And tell me about this. Like, I'm guessing today you is a lot of your life living on faith? Meaning you just take each day and like you're not sure how much money you have, and you've just gotten into a flow state where things are good enough, and you just make sure that your lifestyle is below your expenditure, and in your creativity is you have faith in your creativity and what it's going to bring, what it's going to manifest around you.
My like day to day so I mean, right now over the summers is very open and just like, well, yeah, not much structure around that. During the school year, I'm in like 50 or 60 schools a year, and that like, and so also financially, like that pays my bills, and I'm not worried about money in that regard. And then yeah, creatively, I really only like creating when I feel inspired in the way you're describing, of like when it's really happening and I'm inside it. I don't like just like sitting down and writing and then not really actually feeling inspired. Um, but yeah, like I think a lot of how I relate to others is the way that you're describing, of at least I hope for it to be just what's here for me. How can I show up to this person and see them and be true to myself at the same time? Um, but yeah, day to day, it's a lot of like, my school years are very busy with speaking and working with schools. When I'm inside of like doing a show, I have like months of prep and performing, and that's very full and dedicated. And right now, I am doing a lot of nothing and playing a lot of online chess, and I would actually
Mm,
like a little bit more inspiration.
mm. Um, does do you ever leverage your do you leverage your ego?
Tell me what that means.
I was afraid you were going to say that. You you want to write a new play, you want to write something, and you want to perform, and um you know and you kind of like fake that you want to do it. You know that you enjoy when it's over, and the applause, and the sense of completion, and you know that that can't be like the motivator, but you use it as the motivator. I'll give you even a more superficial example. You're going to eat something at night, but you don't eat it because you don't want to like you leverage your ego because you don't want to look fat in the morning when you go to
Mm,
whatever event you're going to go to. You know what I
mm,
mean? So you kind of like you in a healthy way, what I would call a healthy way, use your ego to
mm.
sort of motivate you. Like give yourself some sort of superficial reward.
Yeah, I think my honest answer is I think I get so like, I've watched how enticing that force can be for me, and how like some of my interest in social media is like I can get so caught up in this and the how many likes did it get to, like I can totally get lost in that. And I think I don't have a relationship uh with my ego in that way, where I am comfortable letting it drive, because I
Okay.
worry that it will make me act in ways that I do not feel happy about. Um and Yeah, that's an interesting thought starter. It's like, oh, I wonder how, oh, like, could I try to leverage that with balance? And would that be meaningful? So much of the most meaning in my life, I felt like, has come from really setting it aside and just listening to what does the world or God or life have for me today. And so like I like striving for that. And so I'm skeptical that like the trained ego process is what would bring me, fulfillment day to day, but maybe that's an interesting idea.
In one of your ups, you say something, I think it's in the words that move. I see through a different eye. Oh, by the way, what a I see through a different eye in the way you spell I. Great, brilliant. Do you know a mathematician named P.D. Ouspensky?
No.
and he wrote this book called The Possible Evolution of Psychology. I think. Do you know the name Krishnamurti or
No.
Madame Blavatsky? Okay. They had this group in the early 1900s called the Theological Society, and there was a boy named Krishnamurti in India, and they found him, and they thought he was the second coming of Christ, and they brought him to the United States, and he ended up being like, "Hey, fuck you, I'm not the second coming of Christ," and he broke off and moved to Ojai, California, and like everyone went and visited him. Khalil Gibran said he was the most amazing person he's ever seen. Bruce Lee went and saw him. Charlie Chaplin. They're like, "Holy shit, maybe this guy is the second coming." But this mathematician that used to hang out with him, I'll send you a link, a copy of the book. He wrote this whole thing about eyes and how they live in us. And for me, that book was my most transformational moment. Some of the things I got from that book.
Beautiful.
But in this Words That Move, I See Through a Different Eye. You talk about heartbreak and breaking up with someone and then still being able to see them through your phone. And like, I'm 53. And when my girlfriend broke up with me in the 6th grade, I went home and cried. And I just kept looking at the phone, like on the wall.
Yeah.
And I was tripping the way you were describing that about what people have to go through these days. So it's really like that. You break up with someone, and I'd never thought of that. Then everything you post is either like a signal to them or to hurt them. Or how did you come up with that? Or is that just the reality for everyone in this age?
I mean, I think it resonated with people because there's a version of that is really happening for people. And frankly, a lot of social media then becomes that, where people are performing or or flirting or whatever it might be with people that they either have crushes on or exes or whatever it might be. And everybody else is watching in that crossfire. That really happens a lot. And yeah, I wrote that when I was going through a breakup of and I think that was 2016. And my timeline is not accurate, I think, that I've given you, because as I look at the numbers, I'm like, I think that was 2016 when I wrote that. But maybe 2018. Anyway, who knows? But it was, yeah, that is, I think, very real. And I actually was working with going from, or before I get into that, going from having hopefully an open, honest, loving relationship with someone to the only place they exist being in this really weird, fake, socially engineered environment is really a mindfuck. And a lot of people, I think, really, really struggle with that. And it used to be, like you said, there just wasn't the option. You didn't have the choice of what you were going to do or how, being able to see what they're up to. And I think that was better in a lot of ways. And now it really can be a mess. And there was an 11th grader who came up to me after a talk recently who was like, "Oh, I had my heart broken. And then I'm just sort of feeling down. It's hard to feel the feelings," right? That's the other big piece of this, is that you cried. You had no choice but to feel what you were feeling. People have an escape machine all the time to avoid the things that they are feeling. And when people go into that escape machine in already heartbreaking moments, now the social media apps will fill, because you'll watch it for longer, fill the feeds with, "Here are the reasons you're not man enough. She left you because X, Y, or Z did it." Just all of this garbage nonsense that is tailor made for you at that moment and not based in reality, but filling your head with a story that where the characters that rise to the top are tend to be the most extreme, outrageous, and downright stupid, who shout these things, and then that comes into your feed, and some part of you in your vulnerable state is is this why she left me? Am I not man enough for X, Y, or Z reasons? And it's just a really heartbreaking cycle, I think, that exists right now. And yeah, I'm very proud of that poem, The Heartbreak in the Digital Age one, because I think it captures what a lot of people are going through. And I think it's a really hard time to go through that. And if you are going through it, definitely recommend delete the app for a little while. Just try not to get caught in that. And it can be so painful to move on when it's just always right there and can pop up at any moment.
What's crazy is just in this space that I'm in. The other day we were doing a live show, and there was a couple who's in our kind of sphere, and they had a breakup, and the boy posted something about it in TikTok, standing out in front of her house, that she was with another man, and we played the whole thing live on YouTube, right? like as it's happening, we're live on YouTube, we're pulling up all the accounts, we're showing it. And it wasn't until I heard your talk, I'm like, holy shit. Like for people who are in the public eye and who are like in that world, just accumulating views and eyeballs, and that's their whole thing. You know, I kind of hope that most of them have that Jake Paul view, like, hey, you have to see attention as the highest form of currency. Don't, like, if it's getting to you, like, maybe this isn't your game. But I hadn't thought about it the way you thought it, because I never lived that. I had my heart broken, 20 times in my life. And every time I just go home and cry or write a poem or ride my bike, or like, that's nuts that you're still communicating with the person and that huge social group through your app.
And there was some version before social media that it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna get in really good shape. So like that's one
Yeah.
way. And then when they see me,
That's
they're
leveraging
gonna
the ego, by the way. That's a perfect example of leveraging the ego. You break
Gotcha.
up with someone, you're like, fuck you, wait till you see what I'm gonna do to my glutes. Yeah.
Right. And then it's like when I see that person, it's like, I'm looking forward to that moment. People would do things like that. But now it's like, now it's I'm gonna show pictures of me living my best life at the gym, whether I am or not, like people doing stuff like that. Or I'm gonna be showing off like how I'm with this new person, just like whatever it is for people's different show offs. But a lot of that really going on. And there's a big difference between like the daily I'm showing it off as people are constantly curating their identity versus actually sculpting one's identity in a way that is more meaningful to their lives. And heartbreak is often, I think, one of the best teachers. And but like actually being in the lesson of it as opposed to just playing the strange communication game that a lot of us do.
What happens to feelings if you don't, so like you break up with me, I cry, but now I'm in the digital age and I just look at my phone. What happens to those feelings? Like, why is that bad? Like, you need to process that? Like,
So yeah, I think this is one of the things that is at the core of our struggles as a humanity right now, that I think we're not good at feeling our feelings. There's a great analogy of like when a zebra gets chased by a lion, and let's say it after it gets away, it has all of that fear and all of that emotion in its body, right? It literally like shakes it out. That is
yeah,
nature's way of like getting that out of the body. Um, and I went to a retreat once where someone was like, "Look, like in that same way, if I punched you in the arm, you'd have a bruise. Also, if I did this for an hour, you would have a bruise." And when I heard that, I was like, because at first I was like, I don't have any big traumas. Like I don't need to shake anything out that much. I'm gonna be okay. But as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, there's some stuff in me, and I have been denying it until this moment. And because we deal with little emotional slights all of the time, and that I really believe lives in our body. And if we're not processing it, feeling it, like crying is a way of releasing it, like raging, like punching stuff, hopefully in like a safe environment, is a way of releasing that. But it just lives and builds in our body. I think it turns into like sickness. It turns into build up where we're lashing out at people we love and taking things out on people that it's not really who they're about. And so I think when we're not feeling our feelings and not releasing not releasing it, then we drive away the people that we love. We give ourselves a disease. And I think we're just not actually living the lives that we want to live. I think if we're not feeling our feelings, then they're probably sabotaging our life.
Sabbath. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's heavy. Yeah. It's a trip. Just hearing that made me even more certain about giving the cell phones to my kids.
Yeah.
Like just when I heard that, what did you call that section of it? That poem, that section of your performance? The heartbreak,
breaking up in the digital age.
breaking up in the digital age. Yeah, I never thought about that. Then everything that person posts is a signal to you, maybe consciously or unconsciously, but definitely
Yeah.
like your boyfriend breaks up with you, you'll be like, okay, next shot is me at your best friend's house. What do you think
And
of that?
right. And the meta layers of, oh, and then maybe it's not. And then that's painful in its own right. Like there's no escaping the mess.
Yeah, and I have experienced it in this, that like a couple will break up, and then 2 weeks later, one of the people will post a picture with another person, and then the comments will fill up, "Hey, you're a bitch too soon," or "You're a dick too soon."
Right, which is everybody else's projections too, right? Like
Yeah,
about
yeah. How dare
about
you? How
that
dare? Yeah,
element and how people are living their lives, but it's just messy.
yeah. Any other fitness you do? Any other movement you do besides soccer?
Soccer.
Yeah,
I was captain of high school tennis team. I've been getting back into that. And I think that I pushed more of that as I realized that my body is not doing what it used to do, and tennis is a longer game that old people play. So
yeah.
I'm trying to get back into that too. Um, yeah, I don't like work out in a way that would probably be healthier for me, but mostly I don't really like just like running or moving if I'm not chasing a ball or competing. I have a very intense competitive side.
And kids? Do you plan on having kids?
I think so. I'm very, very in love with the love of my life, and right now we don't want to share each other. But I think at some point we probably will do that.
I think you're gonna have a very what well, let me ask you this, what does your mom and dad think about you having kids? Do they put pressure on you to have kids?
Gently, they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they would like for that to happen.
And how do they say it?
They more no, because I have an older sister who has 2 kids, so she bared the brunt of most of that.
Yeah. That's
And
tough
now
going
it's
first. The parent you get so much shit from the parents, my poor
I
sister.
yeah, I bet. That's
So
how I
much
feel
judgment.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have it easy.
Yeah, and now I think it's much more, it's just like when the idea ever comes up where my fiance and I are talking about like, "Oh, kids down the road," it's more they say, "Are you thinking about that?" Like, is that ho they won't bring it up themselves, but if it's ever mentioned at all, they hop on the opportunity and get very excited.
Um, my mom told me, I didn't have my first kid till I was 43, and I thought I never wanted to have kids, and I never wanted to get married. And my wife never wanted to get married, and she never wanted to have kids, so we were just happy. And then at 39, my wife, saw another woman breastfeeding, and she's like, "Oh, I wanna try that." And then a woman said to her, "If you don't have kids, you might regret it. If you do have kids, you won't regret it." And that tied with something that my mom had told me. She said, "Hey, Sevon, I know you. You're gonna want this experience." That's how she couched having kids to me, and I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" Like, I didn't know what to do with it, so I just kinda stored it away. Um, you will there's a selfness that there's a it's kinda interesting. I always thought when you say that you still want to be with each other, you and your wife or, your fiance, it's interesting because, having kids is like, if you do it right, if you leverage it right, there's a freedom because, there's no more Max will go away
Mm,
because because you become in the servant role, and so, like, you're kinda like that if you do it, you're the happiest you've ever been, but it's also the most vulnerable have ever been because there's something out in the world that cannot get hurt by any means necessary.
yeah.
So so you're kind of it's kinda weird. You're like you get free, but also, in the same way that it'll bring you and your wife closer together, you're right. I never thought of it like that. I don't mean to be doomsday or talk you out of it, but yeah, there is no like, it just all kind of, uh yeah, you're free from yourself, but then that time with, Max and your fiance kind of
Alana,
it's
yeah.
yeah, Ilana, yeah. How did you meet her?
That's a longer story. But yeah, we've been in love for about 7 years and now together for almost 2. And so that's been a long journey.
Did
And yeah, we met through she was dating a someone who was a friend of mine.
Oh, wow. So, crazy. So you courted her for 5 years.
No, I was mostly just space, but just love and longing from afar. And neither of us ever stopped being in love with each other. And it's now the greatest thing that could ever be and is a higher degree of joy and love than I knew was possible. And I'm tremendously grateful for it.
My wife, I knew for 5 years, and she was dating my friend.
Really?
And I wrote a screenplay called 5 Years to Fornication, and it was the 5 years of me trying to, um, chill though, you know what I mean? Chill, like, I didn't make moves on her, never, like, you know what I mean? Didn't, like, touch her, but you know what I mean? Like, if, like if she was outside in college smoking a cigarette, I'd go outside and smoke a cigarette. If she was like playing catch, I played catch. Do you know what I mean? If her boyfriend invited me somewhere, like I was going. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And and then at one point she picked up she became figured out that I was attracted to her, and she drew a firm boundary. She said, "Hey, this will never happen. I have a boyfriend." And then the day she said, "Hey, I broke up with so and so," and it was on, like that day. But 5 years, dude, 5 fucking years.
Yeah. Was it no contact for you for those 5 years?
Yeah, no, nothing. Did not
Yeah.
touch the hand, not a kiss, but just fucking like I was like a space shuttle on the on the launch pad with thrusters full blast, just losing my fucking mind. Yeah.
So yeah, you know what it's like to long after someone from afar that way.
Yeah, crazy. And I'm not friends with that guy anymore. I mean, we didn't have a falling out or anything. We're just not. I mean, at the time he didn't like me. Did you lose your friendship?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. And yeah, which was complicated and sad in its own right. But it was. I also mean, like, I'm very proud of how I showed up throughout it. And then you also, yeah, never there was never any crossing of any physical boundary while they were together. And I'm
Was
proud
that
of
her or was that you?
both of us. It was like
Oh,
it was love. It was love all around. Like love for him. Like didn't want to like that wouldn't have felt right.
well, you're a better
And
man than me. I would have if she had given me the signal. I'd have been fucking.
But anyway, it's enough of then. Now is spectacular, and I really trust like there was a lot of growing that happened in those 5 years. I'd imagine probably for you too in your 5 years. And now we get to revel in the goodness of it.
Did in those 5 years did you have girlfriends?
I had one. That was when I moved to LA. I was with someone for 2 years then. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so what's funny is so I was on the West Coast and I had a girlfriend too, but mine was in Brooklyn.
Oh, that is funny. Wow, some parallels there.
Yeah. So we were just different times, different universes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well.
my girlfriend always knew that I had feelings for hate. Like she sensed that I don't know if feelings is the word, but I stayed close to this other girl too, that's my wife now. And my girlfriend hated her.
Yeah. So she just like. I mean, I was upfront that like I was like I will always have love for this woman. And so that was a challenge in that relationship for sure.
Oh my goodness. And does your family like your fiance?
Oh yeah, they get along great.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She's not upset that you're living you live in a dream world, like you live like a pretty damn good flowy life, like you found you're in the faith path, just loving life, doing good work.
She yeah loves whatever makes me happy. Seems to be very good for her. She yeah really loves and supports all parts of me in ways that I did not fully know was possible. Yeah, we're very much an example of when it's right. When you know, and she's the best communicator I've ever been with by far. Incredibly fun and creative and beautiful, and I'm just head over heels in love, and I get to be in that. And it was a painful 5 years, but get to revel in it now.
Because some people you hear about relationships where some people might be resentful if the other person's living like a good life. Like couples will go out to eat and someone will order a salad and they'll be like, "I'm so sick and tired of the way you always eat healthy." You know what I mean? They kind of resent them, or she has none of that towards you, towards your.
No, it's celebration of each other's wins and freedom and things that make each other feel good.
Yep, that's a keeper. Um, Censorship. Sometimes when you talk about things, you're like, the easy answer would be like, "Hey, some of your ideas you put out there, the easy answer would be like, hey, let's just censor that, or let's just turn that off, or let's just put rules on that." And I never hear
Mm.
you say that, but I always think that would be the easy way. Do you have any thoughts on censorship, on
Uh,
what they might be?
censorship of what?
So like Instagram doesn't allow, well, there. I say they don't allow nudity, but if you let a fake baby breastfeed on you, you get a pass. But things like that, censorship, The biggest example was during COVID. During COVID, I said, hey, the best thing you can do to fight any disease is to exercise and stop eating sugar. And that was against World Health Organization guidelines, and that's what YouTube follows. So because I said that, my YouTube station was suspended for a week. And
So yeah,
even though I think that's true.
Like it was like they stopped you from posting for a week?
Yeah, I couldn't go. I couldn't go. Well, I couldn't specifically go live for a week.
Go live for a week.
Yeah.
Got it. I think that
For saying
so yeah,
exercise and avoiding sugar is the best thing any human can do for their health.
the place that I think the where I see it around these things is that like I don't think I think it's not with exceptions of maybe like the most graphic and most extreme things. I don't think it makes sense to just like to basically shut people up completely. But I also believe that freedom of speech is not freedom of reach. So like I don't believe that YouTube
Oh.
or Facebook or Instagram has any obligation to show any or every idea to basically their algorithm boosting that out to people. Like I don't think they should stop you from making, and in that example of like of telling people to exercise as a good idea, like, and I usually don't think that that's an idea that should be censored. But I don't think that these companies have obligation to push things out and help them like spread and go viral. And like I think that they usually they crunch the pipes, and I think in some ways they have every right to do that. How you decide what gets pipe crunched and what doesn't is a really interesting and deep conversation. I wish that that was done more effectively and better. And they're often like just trying to stop all of the chaos, and they're not able to operate with nuance in the ways that I wish that they could. Um, but also like you would need to redesign some of the platforms, I think, to do it well. It would need to be as you're going into one of these apps, what is your intention? Are you trying to learn right now? And if so, okay, what is the type of content that is actually helping you develop a informed opinion? And then can that rise to the top? Are you trying to feel less lonely? What are the actions or experiences or events or people who are most likely to help facilitate that in a way that feels good later? Let's let that rise to the top. Like it's be very different than just like content, 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 content. And so I think to do that well, it would need redesigning. But for censorship, I think these companies have every right to not to close the pipes on certain things. That can be very frustrating, but they have every right to do that. And I think it's a mistake to block people completely, because I don't think that actually even works. I think it just pushes people to other environments and cements people even more in their ideas. And I don't think it makes sense to to silence anyone. And then the funny part is that because the algorithms change all the time, people are often like, "I'm being censored," when they're not being censored. Their content just isn't reaching people. But
Right.
people are sort of crying censorship over not knowing how the algorithms work.
I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but during COVID, um, for probably 2 years straight, people would send me screenshots, you know, 5 or 6 a day. Hey, this is what Instagram's saying about you, because they would put like warnings. You know what I mean? Don't follow this guy. They're
Or
giving you
the
misinformation.
misinformation
Yeah,
warnings.
or are you sure you want to follow this guy? Are you sure you want to share this? But I don't see any of that anymore. It's really weird. I don't see any of that anymore. It's like they popped it off or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of it either. I think some like if it was done well, I think those platforms being responsible for some guidance of what is and is not misinformation would be really, really helpful. Um,
What's that look
uh,
like? Can you tell me what that would look like? Like a rough example?
I have a friend, Tobias Rose Stockwell, who wrote a book called Outrage Machine, and he had this idea where it would basically be like as you see an idea, something like a GPT is telling you what like the contested ideas are inside of what's being posed here, what has a lot of bias in it, like what is just outright stating a thing that is not accurate, like what and just like helping you see where are the controversial things inside of what somebody is saying or posting, and then also helping you see like what are the bridge points. So if somebody is giving a political perspective or an idea that you don't believe, like, all right, what are the common areas where you two might agree, and how are those places where you might see each other as humans, and be able to communicate about that, and just like having little outlines of, yeah, here's where this is kind of heavily contested. Here are places that that might be points where you can talk about this together and feel good about it, but just having some guidance on what isn't, like, this is a big topic, but like what did not factually occur is one form of truth, right? Like, you threw a brick at me, like, you did not throw a brick at me. So like, it's just like a that did not occur. Like, that claim is just factually incorrect. Then there's just bias. There's just like, hey, you're framing everything through a lens that doesn't is not necessarily grounded in whether it's like, whether that's consistent with the scientific points of view of research, whether that's factually did or did not occur, whether that aligns with Nazis, like whatever it might be. Like, there are different forms of bias that can be challenging or dangerous. Um, and then there's and yeah, just like sorting out what is and is not misinformation is a really complicated game. And yeah, I think it would be really hard to do it well, but I think it would be probably helpful for society if it were done well. The thing is, if it were done well, the people who are being censored or who are being told that what they're believing is not accurate will inevitably double down and be outraged about that, and probably move over to other platforms, and maybe that fragments society even more. I don't know. These are big problems, frankly, that I'm glad I'm not in charge of, as I want to live my life day by day and in general make art and yeah, and be in love.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I really appreciate you coming on. When I invited you on, were you like, hey, sometimes people will be like, how do I fit in this world? How do I fit in this podcast? Like, you might scroll through some things and be like, hey, this is people lifting weights, or this is just talking about. Did you do anything, or did you just walk into it and blindly?
Blindly, had no idea at all
Badass.
of
Awesome.
any of this at all. Yeah, I was figuring it out as we go. Yeah. In general, over the summers when I'm more free, I'm like, sure, podcast, why not? Happy to talk to a human.
God, I love it. Well, hey, thank you very much. If you're ever, I do think maybe I live in the most beautiful place on planet Earth. I live in Santa Cruz, California, a very isolated little town south of Silicon Valley. If you're ever out here, look me up. I'll send you. I'd love to send you this book, this P.D. Ouspensky book. Do you still? Oh yeah, you have paperbacks. I'll send you. It's the one that talks about all the eyes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, we can touch base on that.
Yeah, awesome. All right, brother. Have a great day. Thank you for sharing so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
All right, cheers, Max. Max Dossel. Damn, his parents must be proud. Pat also thinks he's going sub 5 on burpees to target. No. Stop. What a good life. What a good life. Imagine developing a craft and it adding value to the world and peddling your wares to the world, adding value to people's lives in the form of actual valuable ideas. That's cool. Especially at his age. Missed the show, was watching tennis. All right, fuck you then. What tennis are you watching? Should my kids be watching tennis? Holy shit, breaking news on the sale. I have to do another show tonight. I told Susie, I said, hey, we need to come up with like one little tiny bit of information every night. So we could do a breaking news show on the sale. Tonight, 10,000 views. Find out what kind of shoes Malik wears. I love the thumbnail. Asraf made the thumbnail. Like, it looks like we're going to show who bought the company. Sweet. What company, Sevon? CrossFit. Well, I hope that was a cultural experience for you. Hope you guys actually learned something. Sevon, Sevi, have you done a wellness check on Torres? I did. Sevi, did you jump over the rower? Sevi, did you jump over the rower?
My name is Matthew Fraser, 5-time CrossFit Games champion and founder of HWPO Training. A little over a year ago, I sustained a ACL injury, had a full reconstruction. I was lucky enough to meet Suji so that I could have the benefits of a BFR and all that recovery in my rehab at home. You're able to cut down on the load and get the same, perceived exertion and the body fatigue, but without all the load on your body. So making it easier on a lot of your joints.
Oh, is that true? That's awesome. An American woman just knocked off the #1 seed at Wimbledon. The British crowd is shouting USA. That's awesome. God, I love England. No, just only right now. Adam Blakesley. Sebi, did you jump over the rower? Why do you ask? Why do you ask, Adam? Why do you ask? Tell me. Why do you ask? Did you do it? Did you do the workout? I think, does it close? Has it closed? Has the time, has it, Sebi did it with the rower buried in the sand. Why? Why, Adam? Why are the OG athletes trying to destroy CrossFit for the younger athletes? I don't know. Maybe it's the perception thing. Maybe they think that, oh, I'm hitting the workout today. I did it and I'm curious. Go on. Tell me more, Mr. Adam Blakesley. Tell me more. You're curious what? You're curious what? Let me, here, I'll let you, I'll give you one guess. I don't know if that's a good game. No, not PD Ouspensky, In Search of Miracles. I'll show it to you. Oh, Adam. Adam. You're fucking my shit up. I'm really getting pissed. Can't you just pretend? Can't you just, like, in your mind, just be like, I did go barefoot. Great, I'll go there. Yes, I did go barefoot. I read all the, the Fourth Way is pretty good too. I thought the Fourth Way was pretty good. I thought the Fourth Way was pretty good, but I think it's in The Psychology of Man's Possible Evolution. Oh, maybe that's what it is. I read this one too, Tertium Organum. I read all these. I was so into his shit. I don't remember this one. But this psychology one, he gives you this, he lays a model for the human mind, not like it's real, but just for like a paradigm in which to think about yourself in terms of eyes. Adam, I still beat you, but it's different stimulus if you don't. What do you mean by different stimulus, Mr. Adam? What do you mean by different stimulus? Tell me, what do you mean? The word still is very interesting there, Mr. Adam. I still beat you. Why couldn't you just say I beat you? And it's a different stimulus. I still beat you. What are you suggesting by saying I still? God damn it. Excuse me. Cheese and crackers. Jeremy World, $5 for Sevi's redo for not jumping over the rower. Christian Kettler. Adam, you douchebag. This is like picking on the kid with Down syndrome. Leave Sevi alone. Yeah. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. No way Sevi is jumping. Q, Mr. Burns. Q. I stepped over. If you aren't jumping, your heart rate is less impacted. Yeah, I know what you're saying. What are you saying by that? If my heart rate is less impacted? Hey, dude, you know what's crazy? I did the workout and I pulled a 900. That's not even true. I stayed at like 870, and then with probably like 8 calories left, 8 calories. With 20 calories left, when I hit 80 calories, I pulled like a 920. So I went from like 870 to a 920. I just jumped on it cold, but with all dressed to like so many clothes on. I was pouring sweat in 2 minutes. And then I got off, and then I just stepped back and forth over the burpee and did 47 reps, just like at just a chill, steady pace. Yeah, I didn't jump. I know. Thank you, Paige. Thank you. Finally, some honesty. He's implying you cheated by not jumping. That's correct. Not only is he implying I cheated, but he's trying to. I'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. Adam's like, there's no way that old motherfucker got 47 because I only got 48, and that's crazy. CK Kevin, that's not even chick level. Hey, dude, right after that, I don't know, 900 what? I don't know. It's just that big number that they always talk about when they're like, I was pulling a 1250 or I was pulling a 1400. I don't know I don't actually know what the metric it is. Revolutions per minute. I don't fucking know. But Adam's like tripping because he's like, there's no way he got 47. He's trying to like figure out how I got 47. Like, it doesn't make sense. What did you get, Adam? 51, 48? But when I got off, no, I'm not even pulling 900. I wasn't even, like, only for the last 20 calories. I think I pulled like 920. Oh, that's calories per hour. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I don't know why. I always think Aaron's like a runner. Doesn't he look like a runner? Oh, 154. Yeah. Yeah. So I was right. You're like, there's no fucking way. I'm twice as fit as that guy. How the fuck did he get 47? I have the video. You want to see it? I have you guys want to see the video? I made the video in case anyone talk shit. And I didn't post it on purpose. I didn't post it on purpose because I didn't want to anyone to know that I stepped over. Adam fucked it all up for me. Let me see. Beat Bajan. God, I can't fucking believe how big I am right now. I'm fucking gigantic right now. Look at I'm adjusting. Do you see me adjust? I adjusted my nuts right there. Reach in where you pull your dick off your balls. This is my that's it. God, I shouldn't have shown you guys this. I was wondering how you beat Dave. Dude, I could easily beat Dave. Look how chill I am. I just did this for 47. And burpees, burpees are so easy for me. Yeah. It's like nothing. Like I'm just like, I'm like already at the ground. Anyway. That's it. There you go. That's equivalent to missionary. That's equivalent to missionary position. Yeah, just chilling. That's some smooth lateral sauntering. Sometimes I think Sevi lives on a different planet. It's July and you're dressed to go visit Janelle in Alaska. Dude, and it's hot. It's not hot. It's like probably 79 degrees. The thing I have to, dude, are you kidding me? You think you think that's unathletic? That's crazy athletic. You just don't see you don't see that explosiveness? What are you talking about? And what's crazy is that sweatshirt's a large. That's what I mean. Like, I'm just like, I'm so bloated right now. I'm just from, if you guys knew the concoction that I'm taking right now, it's absurd. I don't even know. So basically what happened is, when I was doing the open, I bought this shit called Vitargo. It's like everything I preach against. It's like just pure sugar, right? And I had that, and I bought this huge tub of protein powder, and I just got all the powders, right? Salts and BCAAs and all shit. So I have this whole section of my kitchen. So I took that Vitargo shit for like, I don't know, like a week, trying like to beat Wooly and do double days and like push extra hard, like as a motivation to push hard. Like, hey, I'm putting this shit in my body. I better fucking work extra hard. Like when you buy a new pair of shoes. And after a week, I fucking hurt myself. Remember that? Before the open, I fucked my back up training to beat Wooly in the open. So I just stopped taking that stuff. And I just went back to just regular, just like Critin. And yeah, retardo shit. Yeah. Retardo. And so Now, yeah, it's like cum, dude. That shit is crazy. The last bit of Vitargo in the shaker is basically cum, dude. It's crazy. So basically, I have all of this stuff on the counter, and I guess I had protein powder on subscription on Amazon, like one big bucket every 6 months, and another bucket showed up. And I'm like, oh God, my wife is going to kill me. So I'm just like, I've just been like doubling down. I've been doing 2-a-days, and I've been just doubling down on all the supplements, just going crazy. Trying to finish the Vitargo. I'm trying to finish the protein powder. I'm like peddling that. It's just pure. It doesn't even taste good. There's no flavor to it. It's just generic, the most expensive whatever way I could find on Amazon. And I'm farting again. I haven't farted in forever, and I'm just like, but it's just crazy. Hey, I figured out last night. So I went to Hiller's post that he did on the fine European gentlemen who were like hating on us, and I was thinking, I was like, and all these people were like, "We like you, Hiller. We hate Sevon. We like you. We hate Sevon." I was like, I wonder why they hate me. I wonder what the difference is in our content that they hate me. I mean, obviously his shit is like, he spends way more time and his shit's like more crafted and polished, and I'm like, you come to my house, like my videos are like, oh, you need a place to sit, and I just kick you over a fucking basketball and tell you to sit on it. Hiller has Hiller gives his audience a recliner, right? I mean, and obviously our brains are different too, so he's processing shit in a way that's different than mine. So it might be a more popular or palatable way too. I'm not discrediting his art or saying anything about his art at all, other than it's a better chair. It's a better chair than my chair. But I was like, okay, so taking all that aside, right? He does it with his shirt off. It's run through his unique processor. I was like, oh, what else could it be? And then I figured it out. The thing that those people don't like is they don't like my sense of humor, and they don't like my take on things. Like they don't like Hiller hasn't weighed in yet on whether kids should be taking the vaccine. You know what I mean? Hiller hasn't weighed in on the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse totally did the right thing by shooting those 3 people. And so I was thinking about it when I was watching The Poet. He would say things that were grounded him in opinion that made me start judging him outside of the fact that he had this sort of transcendental poetry, meaning it took you into this place that Eckhart Tolle does, where it's like you're in no-thing land. He sets you free. You just close your eyes and listen to him, and you're kind of set free as you follow his words. You're kind of like nowhere, and it's cool. And then all of a sudden he brings you back to a man-made bullshit concept of white privilege men. And so that's what I do. People are like in their la land, just really enjoying. I don't take people to that land that The Poet does, but I have people in the CrossFit land, and I'm giving people insights. And then all of a sudden I'm like, doesn't it suck that all fucking HR bitches are fat fucking white ladies who should have never got a job, and just or black ladies or whatever the fuck they are. And I say stuff like the collegiate education system and corporate jobs and government jobs are just a babysitter for middle-aged women who didn't have kids, or who should have stayed home and take care of their kids. Like that shit pisses people off. And so then I was like, okay, so I'm curating. I have a different level of curation on my crowd. You know what I mean? To like me, you kind of have to walk through my minefield, and Hiller doesn't make you like necessarily walk through his minefield. Although as he gets rooted deeper and deeper, I mean, we've definitely seen he's exposing. He's been laying over the years that Hiller's been making all his content. We've gleaned more and more of his character. Black, white, doesn't matter to me. That's how cool I am. Doesn't even matter. It's just funny to say black, because then that like pisses people off. Then the people who run the everything through the filter of racism, be like, he's racist. Some guy, and then a lot of people just don't get humor, right? A lot of people are just so fucking uptight. I mean, do you remember when someone would say something about your mom when you were in high school and you'd want to fucking kill them? Now it's like, dude, you're an adult, dude. Doesn't matter anymore. None of that, like you're bigger than that. Like no one, that when you're upset by other things people say, you're just controlling them. You're not a man. Some guy was watching porn on his work computer in my office, and it took him over 2 weeks to get fired because it had to go through HR. It's such a joke. I remember you telling this story. That's so awesome. That story never gets old. That's so great. Did you just see it or did you hear it too? Your mom's so fat she sat on a rainbow and Skittles came out. Yeah, well, your mom's so fat she sat on an iPhone and turned it into an iPad. Christine Young. But Maris, was it on his brakes? That's good. Shit. I saw it 4 different times. How many times did you hear it? Did you ever see the money shot? Did you ever glance over and like a load was flying? What did you see? Did you see oral or isn't that crazy? So don't want my kids to see porn for a long time. I want them to be like all excited like I was. I couldn't fucking believe it when I was 16 and I was 16. I'd never seen porn. I had one Playboy magazine. I think I had the Vanna White one. My dad got it for me when I was 16 or something. I asked him to get it for me. I saw some girl sucking a guy's dick once. Hey, do you know the difference, Maris, between, well, I don't know, but this is going to be really disturbing to you, Maris, but most guys, if they saw that, like if a guy saw you watching porn, he would get horny. He wouldn't report you. I mean, we're just different creatures. Like if a girl was watching porn in the cubicle next to you and you were a dude, you would get so crazy aroused. Maris, what if you would have like while he's watching porn, you would have just walked over to him and handed him a Bible? Here you go. Oh my goodness. Wow. Jake Chapman, you are always on another level. If I wanted comeback, I'd get your mom to fart. Holy shit. I was listening to your podcast the other day. You can say the most crass shit and it's not crass. It's wild. It's that English accent. I wonder if you guys know you have that superpower over us Americans. It's crazy the way you guys can say stuff. Maris was flicking the bean and had to go clean up. Oh. Wow. My coworkers got caught misusing the breastfeeding room. Wow. They were boning in there? Wow. That's about the only thing Europeans have over us. Yeah, correct. Do you remember anything about the magazine, Jeffrey? My friend showed me a Playboy when I was 10. Do you remember who the Playmate was? Or I remember there was this Asian girl in the one that I had. Can we please get off of Mom's? I just got off of Jake's. Wow. Wow. I don't know if it means I'm gay or not, but when I was a kid too, like if I saw a Penthouse or a Hustler, like it was too much for me. Like I didn't like it. It was like I didn't like it if like if it was being like it was too explicit. I don't know. It was like they took away like the voyeur part. It was. I thought they were. I thought I don't know. I just didn't like it. No, I didn't like any pictures of penetration or sex. No, I didn't like any of that. I just wanted to see like just a set of hammers, you know what I mean, and an ass. That's it. Too much. I haven't seen this. Someone just sent me this in real time. My friend Oh Baby Beast is so into comedy, and she's been sending me so much comedy lately.
After shows, they're like, dude, I don't know how you do comedy right now, man, with the PC and the cancel culture and the snowflakes. Everyone's so goddamn sensitive. It's like, here's the thing. Online, sure. But in real life, we're not that way. We're actually the least sensitive we've ever been in terms of getting into a physical fight. Objectively, not even close. If I wanted to get into a fight in the 1500s, I just had to walk up to a dude and be like, you're not honorable. And then we fought to the death. Like right there. That's crazy to me. That someone could slap me with a glove and now I'm in a 10-pace duel being like, do I have to kill a guy? I left the house for milk. What the f*** is going on, you know? If you were in England, you didn't even need to say real words. You could just be like, you're a silly ninny. They'd be like, draw your sword, coward! And just start, you know, stabbing. If I'm gonna get into a fight now, I have a whole checklist of things that need to go perfectly right before I will engage. I'm pragmatic. I got a career I'm worried about. First things first, does he have cauliflower ear? Very important to check. I don't care if he's 5'3", if his ear looks like it just survived a fire, I'm apologizing. You know what I mean? Like, if he's been doing Muay Thai 16 years, I'm gonna walk up to him with confidence. He's gonna kill me in 2 seconds. Someone's gonna film it, put it on Instagram. He okay, you know, like my whole life is over. People will come up after shows and like, dude.
That's some great energy. I dislike comics who I know can't bench 50 pounds. I know. I've been pretty this guy's a dork, I agree, but he's great. I like him. I think it's entered my judgment too, people who are pinners. Pinners are weird. I just feel I don't know if I dislike them. I don't dislike them. I know I don't dislike them, but I just think, oh man, that person's missing out. Like yeah, he's good. Yeah, that was good. Great energy. Great delivery. Easy to look at. He's easy to look at. Today's Thursday. In 7 minutes, Scott Schweitzer will be live eating lunch on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. I will be carrying my empty coffee cup into the house, looking around for my kids, telling them to get in the car. I'll be driving to Monterey, California, 45 minutes south of me. I do every Thursday morning. Or my kids will do gymnastics. Huge show later. Huge. Yes. Huge show later. Yeah, my coffee was strong this. There will be breaking news today about the sale of CrossFit. Make sure you tune in tonight. Doing another show tonight. Ohio Department of Youth Services hosts Unity CrossFit Games. Holy shit, it's July. The Ohio Department of Youth Services recently hosted the Unity CrossFit Games event at the Indian River facility in a friendly competition that pairs justice-involved youth with law enforcement and first responder partners at local, state, and federal levels as teammates training and competing side by side. So when this says pairs justice-involved youth, that means like kids that were naughty. Fucking words. Indian River facility in a friendly competition that pairs fucking delinquent kids whose parents didn't fucking raise them right and did some naughty shit and got busted by the cops. This is Matt Schindeldecker and Debbie's program. This is such a cool program. I still think Matt Schindeldecker is the only guest I've ever had where I'm like, holy fuck, does this guy have more meaning in his life when he wakes up every morning than me? Not a metric I ever thought I'd compare myself to in someone's life. The event had over 30 youth participants. That's another thing too. All these people who fucking like claim that they hate me online. Like, if I was your friend, you would be so excited. I'm the fucking coolest fucking friend you could ever fucking have. It's crazy. I just do shit for people. I just love people. I just like the small group of friends I have. All I do is just love on you. I either love on you or ignore you. I only have 2 modes. I don't have anyone. I like, you would just love me. Like, if David was David would always be at my house. Like, if David, if you lived in my neighborhood, I know I would get off the podcast and you'd be in the kitchen playing with my kids, staring at my wife's great titties and her little banana strap, spaghetti strap, fucking tank top, and you'd be fucking eating fucking eggs. And you'd be like, Savvy, what's up? Dude, your yard looks great. And then we would go to the beach and just throw the frisbee around. You'd be like, damn, Sevy's cool as shit. Holy fuck, he's fun. That's don't waste your time hating me. Shingle Decker. I'm gonna start calling him that. Matt Shingledecker and Debbie are the man. He adds more and more to his program constantly. Amazing human. I know. It's nuts. He's such a lovely human. And I don't use that word very often. The event had over 30, unless I'm talking about myself. The event had over 30 youth participating from the 3-state facility and from the Juvenile Residential Center of Northwest Ohio. Additionally, the event had nearly 100 in attendance, with some participating with youth from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Ohio State Highway Patrol, Drug Enforcement Administration, and Franklin County Sheriff's Department. You know, the cool premise of this is what we all know who work out with other people. It's the bad kids working out with the probation officers and the cops, and so they start to really bond quickly. While we've done facility CrossFit competitions in the past, this is the first time we've hosted a CrossFit competition for justice-involved youth. That means bad, naughty kids throughout the state, alongside law enforcement officials. Said DYS Director Amy, I am in awe of the collaboration between all these organizations in order to provide youth with positive physical and mental strength motivators. You can't fake this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, if everyone's working out, you can't fake it. It's not like you're in a room with a counselor and they're like, some fat lady's talking to some fucking kid and helping him through his problems, but really she just can't wait till fucking the break so she can get a fucking Coke in the cafeteria at the juvenile hall. You know what I mean? This is like real shit. Over the past 2 years, Department of Youth Services, naughty kid place, has implemented the CrossFit program in collaboration with CrossFit Crave, that's Schindledecker's and Debbie's gym, where coaches come into the institutions to lead training sessions with youth and assist staff to become certified CrossFit coaches. CrossFit Crave has developed this program to engage youth with coaches who are trained on trauma-informed practices for interacting with someone who has endured past traumas. With over 70% of male youth on the mental health caseload of Department of Youth Services, the program takes the approach to allow coach to begin developing a rapport, that's what we just talked about, and trust with youth. Yeah. I mean, what faster, is there a faster way to get trust and rapport than doing a partner workout with someone? It says often leading to positive relationship with the coach. You mean always leading to a positive relationship with the coach? And it goes both ways too. You know, some of these staff are like, fuck these kids. They're assholes. I've helped so many of them, they turn into dicks, and then they also bond with the kids. It's 2 ways. Shingledecker sounds like someone who roofs houses. Jamie Latimer, co-host on Clydesdale's Sunday night show. Jay Birch, exactly where my brain went. Hey, what happened to Kat? Is she just getting railed now? Did she just find her love? And she, like, I don't see her on the channel anymore. She just in full, like, getting plowed mode. All right, 9 a.m. Time to put on. Let's see if he's even on. Christ, send everyone. Clydesdale Media. Clydesdale Media. All these people have like all these fancy beginnings and shit. Elite athlete interviews. Oh, he's not live. Oh, 9:15 today. Late lunch. The topics are WFP qualifiers are posted. Was there a sale? Yeah, Scott. Yeah, boy. Nature of Tour Stop 2 and the CrossFit Games being so close. Okay. I definitely like one of those topics. Okay. So that's in 15 minutes. Make sure you head on over to Vindicate and get your Jesus shirt. There will be hello? Hi. From Gosi. Okay.
You're breaking it.
How's that better?
Yes, better.
Okay.
I was asking about the BPC 157 peptides.
The
In
BPC
chat.
157. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah.
I only see one out of
No, it's
37
okay.
and a half chats.
Have the ability to go buy it, but the Biomax website doesn't.
What?
Do you know how I can purchase the? Yeah, I went to the Biomax Clinic website. Am I on the wrong website? Maybe it's not the right website.
Let me see. Biomax Pep. Thank you for this. Biomaxpeptides.com. Okay, so I'm here, and then I click on.
Oh, I went to Biomax Clinic. Biomax
peptides.
Peptide.
Yes. Okay, and then I go to my cart,
Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm here now. Sorry, I was on the wrong website.
and I think
My husband's got ruptured discs. Would the BP 157 help heal his neck, the ruptured discs?
I don't know, but I've shot BPC 157 into my back and it's helped. I know that Sarah has shot it into her back, and I know recently another one of my friends has gotten it and has started using it in his back. So those are just the three.
Okay.
I can't tell you like what it is or isn't prescribed for.
Right.
Keeping it real says no. I think he's wrong.
Somebody in the chat, I asked before, and someone in the chat said yes. Someone named Christian something.
Yeah, I think you said it's a ruptured disc.
Yeah, he's got 2 ruptured discs, and it caused some nerve damage in his right arm. And they wanted to do surgery on him, but we said no because they wanted to replace his discs. And we just thought it was kind of a little too soon. They wanted to rush him like the Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach. They wanted to rush him into emergency surgery. And we're like, no, not yet. Let's wait.
Good. How long ago
We need to
was
do
that?
some research.
How long ago was that?
This was like 4 or 5 months ago.
And is it getting better?
Yeah, he's a lot better now, but they sent him home with steroids. So when we said no to the surgery, they sent him home with steroids and some muscle relaxers, and the steroids really helped. But then he just started doing like kind of at home stretches, and he just rested for like a week and just did very minimal movement. And that helped him heal a lot. But if he starts to do stuff again, like any housework or anything like that, it does start to hurt again. So I don't think it's fully healed. I was just wondering maybe if the peptides would help him more or less fully heal, then sort of kind of just.
I can only tell you,
getting by.
I personally would do it. I can't tell you whether it will help or not. I would personally do it. Obviously, I'm also biased because it's a sponsor of mine, and I've shot a shitload of that stuff up.
So when I order it, do the syringes come with the order, or do I have to buy the syringes separate?
You got to go on Amazon. You got to get the syringes, and then you have to get this bariostatic water. And Hiller has if you go to Hiller Fit and type in peptides, he's got a bunch of videos about it.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some of them with him injecting it and stuff. Okay.
And then also just from my expertise, he'll need a lot. You'll have to also be taking the poison out of him a lot, like daily.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, just on
Is that? Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right. She I think she understood. Bacterial static, whatever. I think she understood. Get him a Bible. Yeah. Take the poison out. Get him a Bible. Fasting, always fasting. I guess the steroids reduce the inflammation. My kid, this is about 2 years ago. My kid was doing like 40 breaths a minute in the middle of the night, Ari. And man, and his face was all bloody from wiping his nose so hard. And he'd been sick for 3 weeks and he had a temperature over 103 for fucking weeks on end. And I was like, fuck, man, what's going on? And it was like 3 a.m. and I took him to the doctor. And after being there for 2 hours, they couldn't figure it out. They're like, hey, time to go home. And we were waiting to be checked out. They had no diagnosis, nothing for him. And the head physician of the emergency room walked by him and looked at him and goes, holy shit, run me up a full diagnostics on this kid. And they're like, we already did. And she goes, the nurse goes, or the other doctor goes, 2 hours ago. And she goes, give it to me again. So they run up all his fucking shit again, and heartbeat and whatever, temperature and all that shit that they do there, and blood pressure. And then she's like, okay, get him some steroids. And I don't know what they gave him, but before they gave it to him, I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, is it okay if he takes this? And we looked it up, and it was bad shit. It could like make you go crazy and shit with extended use. But anyway, we decided to let them give it to him, and he took the steroids, and fucking, I don't know what happened, but within 10 minutes, he was like back to normal. I was like, holy shit. I've been threatened before by the games team. About talking about peptides. I'd love to be on a fucking back. My back looks like I do steroids. Back is retarded. I don't know what my kids are talking about. I don't know why they keep calling me fat. My back's crazy. They never gave a diagnosis. They never gave him a diagnosis. But they gave him the steroids and the shit went away. It was crazy. They should just ban me. Yeah, they never gave me a diagnosis. So Vindicate, head on over and get your Jesus shirt over there. I'm telling you. And Travis, if you're listening to this, please send me more Jesus shirts. But also there's a shirt coming out, a New York Sebon podcast shirt, and I don't think Travis thinks he can get them to you guys by the games, but you guys should bug him and figure out how you can get them. They're dope. You want them. I don't know where we would sell them at the games. But they're dope. They're sick. It's our best event shirt ever. It's better than the Wadapalooza one or the Kill Taylor one. It's good. It's awesome. They did that to my toddler. He had COVID. They gave him a steroid and he was back to normal within an hour. Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy. It's crazy. I'm going to tell you, like, I don't stress, and I was starting to get a little stressed. You should have asked for ivermectin. I think my wife had already given him ivermectin. Sell them in the bathroom while I'm snapping photos of dudes' dicks in the bathroom. That's why I don't listen to the show. Because I can't listen to it with my kids around because he talks about snapping pictures of people's dicks in the bathroom. 100% cannot shit them in time for the games. Listen, he can. You guys just have to bug him. He can. Like, don't let him argue your limitations. If you want one of those fucking shirts, make him send you one of those fucking shirts. Like, you can get one of those shirts. There's no. I mean, it's not for another 2 or 3 weeks. Like you got this. Ship them to Albany. I know, but then you got who's gonna give them to you guys? I don't have time for that shit. Can you believe fucking Hattie Canyu's manager gave me? I was at NorCal. I don't know if I've ever bitched about this. I was at NorCal. God, you're lucky. Hattie's so cool. And I like her agent too. I really like him too. But I'm at fucking NorCal. I'm fucking losing my fucking mind because there's so much shit going on. And it gives me these 2 fucking packages to deliver to Hattie at no, I'm at Syndicate, losing my mind. And he gives me these 2 and I when I checked on the airplane at to come to Syndicate, my luggage was already 69 pounds. So I had to pay an extra $140. But if it went over 69 pounds to 70 pounds, I had to pay like another $100. So it'd be like $240 for 71 pounds to 100 pounds or some crazy shit like that. And this dude fucking gives me 2 fucking huge packages to take to Hattie at NorCal. And now I'm fucking responsible for these 2 fucking packages. I just smiled. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'd love to do that. It was completely fake. But I was actually really glad. Like, when I saw her, like, I was glad like, it was such a huge sense of accomplishment and relief. It had been like I'd been wearing a weight vest. I'm so not good at tasks, like assigned tasks. I felt like I had accomplished, like I had invented the light bulb when I gave her the packages. And then she gave me that beautiful smile. I was like, yeah, Sevi, you're a good dude. Say you're in the military, the weight goes up to 75 pounds. Oh, that's cool. Stolen valor. And my backpack was already my carry-ons were like 38 pounds and like 27 pounds. I mean, it was retarded how much shit I had. That's why I don't like the show, because he says the word retarded, and I have a retarded kid at home, and so somehow I read that I'm supposed to be offended by that. Fuck you. No, I mean, that's fine. Then the show's not for you. But don't let the hate fester in your heart. All right. Lesson today, which we never got to in the Max Dosel interview, but you can chase your dreams and live your dreams. City folk are weird as fuck. That's it. Hey, what's up, Joe? Good to see you, buddy. 38 pounds for a carry-on. How many toast ratios? I know, it's crazy. Dude, if you saw how many batteries and cameras and lenses I carry, it's nuts. And I'm like, I have this crazy high level of stress always that I'm going to forget something. All right. See you over at the Clydesdale Media channel. I'm not sure if well, let's see. Let's plug the boys here. Let's see. There's coffee, wads, and pods. Coffee, pods, and wads. Oh, there's a show today at 12 p.m. So after Clydesdale, head on over there. He's interviewing a guy named Toby Buckland. That dude's going to the games. Okay, so that's good. Let's see. Barbell Ben, if he has anything live today. Nope, nothing live from him. Get with the programming. Get with programming. Anything live today? They got something. Oh, they have something at 1:30. Okay, and it's got J.R. Howell on it. J.R. Howell. Oh, Bryson, Taylor, and Bill. Holy shit. Okay, that's cool. That pisses me off. You're not doing that on my channel. So you're going to go from here to Clydesdale, from Clydesdale to Coffee Pods and Wads, and then over to Get with the Programming. And then tonight we'll update you on the sale. Oh, Glinton's. Always good to do the Glinton's. Glinton things. Our token lesbians. live. Oh shit, they have something today at 11 a.m. Holy shit. So that's wild. Okay, so you can stay on the whole time. You go from here to Clydesdale, then from Clydesdale to Glinton, and then from Glinton to Pedro, Coffee Pods and Wads, and then from Coffee Pods and Wads you go to Get With the Programming, and then you can train, and then you come back here tonight for an update on the sale. All right. Awesome. And if you haven't seen Hiller's newest video, you got to see it. It's so good. It's funny. He talks in this really bizarre cadence. It's called WFP is Getting Crazy. Make sure you go over and watch that. All right. Love you guys. Oh, Lauren was last night, Fake Sevy. Oh, I think those girls go today. I think, oh shit, when is that? I haven't watched their show in the last couple of weeks, but I think those girls go today. The hot chick with the big head and the other woke chick. Oh shit, that's at 12:30. So oh shit. So soon as, and Pedro's show is only a half hour. Okay, sorry. You go Clydesdale, then Glinton, then Coffee Pods and Wads, then In the Box, and they're gonna have Fee Sagafi on. And then Get With the Programming. All right. That's it. Those are all Pacific Standard Times. I should have hit notify me on all. Love you guys. See you guys in the chats. Bye-bye. Subscribe and like. Make sure you subscribe and like. Thank you. Bye.